Hi, I'm Steve Muscatazzo-Pardi. Welcome to Visor Up, my podcast on everything to do with leadership. In this, my first episode, I will introduce myself and present the podcast, including why did I call it Visor Up? Let's start with me. I've been a leader for over 20 years in financial and corporate services in Malta and Luxembourg, including director of Anderson in Malta. I also did a period in a tech startup, and now I am a leadership mentor and author. And here's how that came about. Last summer, in 2025, two things happened. One, I started to reflect on my leadership journey from the early days when I was a manager who barely knew what he was doing managing people, until now, obviously with the benefit of training, experience, a few good leaders and mentors along the way, and I lead with a much more people-centric style. As part of this reflection, I asked some ex-colleagues for feedback on what they remembered about my leadership, now that some time had passed. And I received gems like, "Thank you for believing in me when even I didn't." Or, "I would never have reached where I did if not for your support." That was the spark that made me shift from leading within a team to guiding as a mentor and thought leader. Knowing that I had a positive impact on someone's life is priceless. The second thing that happened last summer was, together with my partner, I went on a motorbike trip to the Swiss Alps, and at one point, sitting behind me, she got a photo over my shoulder of the helmet, the road snaking away in front, going up to the snow-capped mountain. And when I got back home, I was looking at the notes I had written on leadership, the inspirational photo, and I thought, let me put these together in a book where I draw parallels between the skills needed to ride a motorbike and the realities of leadership. And there are far more of these than you might think. For example, on the bike, we shift our weight and position based on the road and conditions that we find ourselves on. And similarly in business, we start with a plan, but as soon as we set off, reality happens. Things change. People leave, budget changes, and we need to adapt as best as we can to the circumstances. The book launches in May 2026, and I'm really excited about that. And as part of writing this book, I crystallized 3 tenets of leadership. 1, leadership is a waypoint, but not a destination. That means that no matter how long you or I have led for, we can still reflect on what we've done. We can look at what we've done with self-awareness. We can learn and we can move forward as more empathic, resilient leaders. 2, leadership is the continuous act of elevating other people. That means not just giving them instructions, but creating the psychologically safe space for them to do their job, giving them the trust to do what we hired them to do, and allow them the freedom to explore, to make mistakes, and we guide them along the way and support them when they fail, as other leaders did to us. And thirdly, I believe that leadership is sustainable and healthy in the long term only when we lead with integrity and authenticity. That means that we have reflected honestly on our core values and principles, what we believe in, what we would stand up and fight for, what we tolerate and what we won't. And then lead in a way that our actions and words are fully aligned with our values. And this brings me back to the podcast name, Visor Up. On motorbikes, when we are still wearing the helmet, but we lift the visor up, we're still engaged, but we are more vulnerable. And that is the theme of my podcast. Engaged, raw, honest, open conversation on leadership. I promise there are no buzzwords, no gurus, no hacks on how to grow your sales 10 times. And that's not what this is about. My target audience is managers, execs, and founders, and those who are en route to leadership and wish to work on themselves to become better leaders. The format of the podcast is simple. In some episodes, I will share insights from leadership from the past 20 years of trial and error, reflection, and self-growth. Send me your questions and I will answer them. Other times, I will invite people who you as leaders really need to hear from. These could be inspirational leaders sharing their own experience, and not only from the business world. I have specialists in psychology lined up to help you make sense of why we think the way that we do and the traps that our minds fall into. I also have experts in human behavior to explain why people act and react as they do, and why it is you as the leader who needs to change if you want to see your team perform better. Thank you for joining. I look forward to seeing you on future episodes of Visor Up.